Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
We're going to talk about society in today's program, something that's going on in the social sphere of our lives. And we're going to be talking about something called PANK. Now, this is not actually a word. It's an acronym when we put the first letter of various words together to make a new word that is an acronym, like the word NASA or scuba or maybe spam. Those are all examples of acronyms.
Or ATM.
Exactly.
But some of the acronyms, you can't actually say it as one word, like ATM. But if you can, we will. Because in English, we like to say things are as short as possible. So we're not going to spell this one out. We would never say P-A-N-K because you can't actually say it as a word, pank. So we're going to talk about this for the next couple of days. Before we get started, though, we're going to read through day one.
Motherhood has been the center of women's lives for centuries. Many generations of women had no choice other than to be a mother and a homemaker. There is no doubt that this is an essential and noble pursuit, and we all owe our lives to the women who decide to become mothers. However, with the rise of feminism, more options have become available to women. More and more women are opting to focus on their careers and their passions, such as art and traveling. This shift has given birth to a new trend, PANKs. The term stands for Professional and No Kids, and has come to represent adult women who have chosen either to delay having children or to not have children at all. Being an aunt allows these women to enjoy the benefits of family by caring for their nieces and nephews, while at the same time granting them the autonomy to live their lives as they desire. This trend has arisen due to women's changing attitudes toward starting families. In the UK, a survey of women born in 1989 showed that 49% of them reached the age of 30 without having children. Compare this to the generation before, of which 38% reached the age of 30 without kids, and the generation before that, which was only around 20%. The statistics show that women have been progressively moving away from the idea of a traditional family. Women are going against the mainstream standard of the world by exercising their right to not have kids. By taking this alternative path, PANKs take a defiant stance against the norm.
Let's take a look at the title first. It's The Rise of PANK, Professional and No Kids. That's what it stands for. When you talk about something rising or the rise of something, it's probably either going from a low altitude to a higher altitude. A balloon can rise up in the air or rise up in the sky. But here, it just means something's becoming more popular. You're seeing it more and more. And our author says that there's a rise of this particular woman who's got a new title, which is PANK. And we're going to talk about that.
Right, the rise. I've heard this in the phrase, the rise and fall of the Roman Empire, for example. So yes, indeed, this is a new term and a new concept that has become quite popular in recent years. And PANK, those letters stand for Professional and No Kids. And our first paragraph begins by saying, motherhood has been the center of women's lives for centuries. Now, motherhood, of course, is the state and condition of being a mother. Just like fatherhood is when you're a father, childhood is when you're a child, etc. So motherhood has been around for a long time, and we're saying it's been the center of women's lives for hundreds of years. Yes, indeed, for many, many hundreds, if not thousands of years, women basically were going to be mothers and wives, and they really didn't do much other than that.
Right. So we're going to be talking about some of the changes in our society. Of course, a lot of things have changed. This is just one of them. So we've got many generations of women, plural. They had no choice other than to be a mother and a homemaker. Remember, earlier in history, women couldn't go out and work. And oftentimes it was almost impossible to even get a divorce. So laws have changed quite a bit. we're talking about generations of women who didn't have a choice other than to be a homemaker. A homemaker is somebody who stays at home and raises her kids and makes life wonderful for her entire family, which is still a noble profession. Most moms work harder than people who go to work and work in an office. And some of the ladies out there are doing both still, which is very difficult. So I want to salute those women out there who work and come home and are homemakers. It's a tough time. Tough thing to do both at the same time. I know when I was growing up, we were told, you can have it all, but it's actually impossible to have it all. You have to make sacrifices. So some of the women out there have decided they would prefer to continue excelling in their own profession rather than be a mom.
Right, but being a mom, a homemaker, a housewife is no doubt an essential and noble pursuit. Of course, we have great respect for women who make that choice.
Oh, yeah.
Pursuit, of course, is something that you pursue or you go after. You study about that thing or you become involved in that thing. So, yes, it's a noble pursuit. You could talk about a police chase. The police were in pursuit of the criminals as they fled from the scene of the crime. But here, of course, we're talking about a noble pursuit. It's really a great thing to do. And, of course, we all owe our lives to women who have decided to become mothers, like my own mother. She worked part-time, but basically she was a full-time mother when me and my siblings, or my siblings and I should say, were growing up. However, with the rise of feminism, more options have become available to women. So feminism, of course, is the movement in which it tries to improve the condition of women in the world. And there are various phases of feminism, but generally speaking, with the rise of feminism, lots of women have more choices now.
Now, more and more women are opting. Opting is a word that we use sometimes just to mean choosing. So are choosing to, are opting to focus on their careers and their passions. Some of these ladies are independently wealthy. They don't even have to work, and they would prefer just to travel the world and do something that they love. Your passion can be anything. It could be sewing, it could be traveling, it could be exploring the world. Everybody has different hobbies or things they enjoy doing. This one sounds fun, just to go around looking at art. Or maybe you're an artist and they want to pursue their art. It's very tough sometimes to do both. Although people are usually mothers for a limited amount of time. Once those kids are grown, those women actually could do whatever they wanted at that point. So this has been a shift in our society. A shift is a change, and it's given birth to a new trend, or has brought forth a new trend, and that's called Pinks. And these are these professional women who are really just aunts with no kids.
And in the title, of course, we tell you what this term stands for. To stand for, that can mean a lot of things. It could mean that you take a position on a particular political issue. You've got to stand for something. You've got to represent something. You've got to have a passion for something, like children's rights. I stand for children's rights, or something like that. But in this particular case, though, we're trying to define what these letters mean. So these letters stand for professional and no kids. And it has come to represent adult women who have chosen either to delay having children or to not have children at all. And if they don't have their own children, then they can spend time with the children of their brothers and sisters. And when they're kind of tired of that, when they're tired of hearing the kids screaming all the time, then they can say, well, now it's time for me to go home. The kids are yours.
Well, and that's the joy of being a grandparent too, right? Because once you're done raising your kids, if you have kids, you can just go home and to peace and quiet. But again, we're talking about these aunts with no kids. Some, it's a choice, and others, they just didn't get married, or they couldn't find somebody they wanted to settle down with. So, as Tom said, the term stands for, you can use that phrase, stand for, to talk about someone who believes in things. You know, someone stands for freedom or someone stands for equality. You can stand for different things, meaning that's what you support. But here it's kind of a representation of this particular trend that's happening where women aren't having kids. So this term has come to represent adult women who have chosen, and this is a choice, either to delay having children. Sometimes if you delay having children, you don't have any children at all. So it depends. It's not so easy to get pregnant these days. Or maybe they've chosen to not have children at all. Maybe they prefer having their cats or dogs.
Indeed, my sister was that way until she had her sons, but she still likes animals anyway. But in any case, we've got these aunts out there who'd rather hang around their nephews and nieces as opposed to having their own children. And indeed, that's this new concept. Of course, a lot of women probably would like to establish their careers first. If you have children and become a mother, that certainly will slow you down with your career. So, of course, they want to wait until their careers are established, and then they can take some time off and have children, maybe have a flexible schedule, work part-time, send the kids to a daycare or something like that, and they can still have their careers. And we'll continue talking about this concept in just a couple of seconds. Bear with us, and please join us again when we continue after we listen to our Chinese teacher.
听众朋友大家好，我们今天要带大家看一个很新的一个族群哦，叫做 Pink 族，潘克族。潘克族什么族啊？要请阿姨姑姑们都要站出来咯。但是我们首先在标题先看一下 rise 这个字 The rise of pink。 注意哦，这里的 rise 当成名词，它指的是兴起出现的意思。那潘克族的兴起是怎么样的一个情况呢？我们先回过头来看一下母亲这一件事情。第一段告诉我们 motherhood， 母亲身份这种其实一直都是女生嘛，觉得就是应该好像要当妈妈，所以很多几百年来女性就没有什么别的选择，反正就是当妈妈啊、家庭主妇啊之类的。那毫无疑问，当然这是一个不可或缺，而且是一个很崇高的追求。我们会有今天，当然就是因为有妈妈嘛。所以第一段的第三句前面我们可以把它画起来，在英文当中这个句型无疑如何如何 There's no doubt that 再加上完整的句子。所以这个妈妈这件事情是一个很重要的 because we all owe our lives to the women who decide to become mothers。 同样在第三句这个地方，我们看到限定用法关系子句，先行词是 the women， 就是这些女生，也就是成为妈妈决定要当妈妈的女生。限定用法关系子句从 who 一直到句尾的地方我们可以括号起来。但是我们也知道，像现在就是会有女权主义的兴起啊，在第四句又出现了兴起出现这个字。不过在这里呢，指的是 Feminism 女权主义的 rise 的兴起。那女生就有很多的 options， 有很多的选项啦，我也不一定要结婚，我也不一定要生小孩啊，我也可以有我自己的事业啊。所以第五句就提到越来越多女性就会选择做一件事情。第五句当中的动词我们可以不要再用 choose to do something， 我们可以换 opt to do something， 选择做一件事情。我们也可以选择做自己很热爱的事情。那接下来呢，这样子的一个 shift， 这种改变在第六句的地方就 give birth to， 本来有生产的意思，在这里指的是产出，这就是一个 new trend， 一个新的趋势，就叫做 panks。 那大家就很好奇啊，这个潘克族到底是什么意思？是很潘的意思吗？不是，它这个 acronym 嘛，其实就出现在第七句，它的意思是 professional and no kids， 很专业的阿姨，全职的阿姨，没有小孩的。也就是说它代表的是 adult women。 同样这一句 adult women 可以画起来，它是先行词，带了限定用法关系子句，从 who 到句尾的地方。这个关系子句有点长哦，中间的片语我们抓出来 either A or B， 不是 A 就是 B。 那这些全职阿姨要不是呢就是延迟生育，要不然根本就完全不生。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. It's our society unit, and we're talking about a trend that we're seeing in our society, and that is the rise of pinks. Professional women, professional aunts, you could say, that have no kids. So they'd have to have siblings, of course, brothers and sisters that had children, so that they were indeed an aunt. So I'm one of these pinks. I don't have my own kids, but boy, I have lots of nieces and nephews, and I love them. My problem was that I was in an industry where most of the men were gay. And so it was hard to date as a performer. So my mom kept telling me, you better start early. You better go looking now. So if you wait too long, you might have a harder time getting married. But a lot of these women, they just prefer to do other things rather than to be a mother. And so we've talked about how some of them pursue their passions. Maybe they're artists. Maybe they love to travel. Maybe they're really great business women who are entrepreneurs. We don't know, but there are a lot of choices out there these days. And you don't have to be married in our time on this earth to be able to make a living. Thank goodness. If I'd been born in the early 1900s or earlier than that, I might have a really hard time even providing for myself because you just couldn't work very easily back then.
There were exceptions, but of course, very few of those exceptions back then. But this term here, PANKS, again, is an acronym, and that reminds me of some acronyms that we've had around since the 80s, I believe. There's the acronym YUP, Young Urban Professional, which is often lengthened to yuppies.
Yeah.
If you're young and you're working at a job that pays a lot of money, you could be considered a yuppie. Or there's the term DINK. I don't know if you've heard of that before, D-I-N-K. That's of a married couple. Double income, no kids, DINK, okay? And these are there are probably some other terms out there which we don't have time to get into now, but today's term is PANKS. Again, professional aunt, no kids. They work a job, and after they get done with work or on the weekend, they go check out their nephews and nieces at their siblings' homes. And again, being an aunt allows these women to enjoy the benefits of family by caring for their nieces and nephews, while at the same time granting them the autonomy to live their lives as they desire. So again, they can probably volunteer to be babysitters for the kids when, her sister and her brother-in-law want to go out for dinner or something. She can offer to be a babysitter for the evening. And here we've got the word autonomy. That just means you're independent and nobody else controls you. You're free. So again, if you don't have children and you're not married, then you have a certain amount of freedom. You have autonomy. Therefore, no one's really controlling you. You can control your time and you can do what you want.
Wow, it's nice to have autonomy, meaning you have the right to just govern yourself or choose for yourself what you want to do with your life. Governments can be autonomous. That's the adjective form of this noun, autonomy. Autonomy, noun, autonomous, adjective. So some of these ladies do have the ability to make choices for their own lives. So moving on, this trend has arisen due to women's changing attitudes towards starting families. Yeah, I noticed, at least in America, some of the ladies were starting later and later to have kids, and then they realized, it's not so easy to get pregnant. And it is harder and harder these days for a lot of reasons. Now, in the UK, the United Kingdom, they took a survey, or they did a survey of women born in 1989, and it showed that 49% of them, almost 50%, reached the age of 30 without having children. So that's a big change from even, say, 30 or 40 years ago. You can compare this to the generation before, and that would be their mothers, right? Which 38% of that group reached the age of 30 without kids. As 38%, that's a lot fewer. So it's changed as time has moved on. And the generation before that, which is their grandmother's generation, only about 20% of those women didn't have kids. So things have changed quite a bit.
And if you go farther back in time, or further back in time, you'll probably discover that number gets smaller and smaller.
True.
Maybe down to 10%, 5%. I don't think it's going to go to 0%, though, because there are some women who
can't get pregnant at all.
Yeah, couldn't have children back then or did not get married or whatever. But still, very few women in the past got to 30 without having children. And now there are quite a few women who have reached the age of 30 and they don't have children. And again, we're comparing different generations here. The generation that was around in 1989, we were talking about them, and the generation before that, and the generation before that, etc., etc. Now, here's the next sentence. It says, the statistics show that women have been progressively moving away from the idea of a traditional family. So above there, we've got some statistics, some numbers that represent trends or data or information. Statistics.
It's hard to say, isn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say statistics or statistics or something. No,
it's hard for us to say it too, so don't think it's just you. Statistics, yeah.
Exactly. So again, yeah, these are just numbers that represent trends in society. And yes, indeed, 49%, 38%, 20%, those are statistics.
Yeah, so it could be a fact. You could have a stat, and you'll often hear us or see it shortened in writing. Yeah, the stats for that are pretty good. What are our stats this month on our sales? So statistics. I think people say stats a lot because it is hard to say statistics. You have to think about it. Statistics usually comes out. So they show that women have been progressively, little by little, moving away from the idea of a traditional family. A traditional family, of course, would be a mom, dad, probably 4 kids, Nowadays, a lot of people have 2 or fewer. Some only have 1. I do know a couple of Taiwanese families at church with me. They have 3 kids, but that's considered to be quite big, at least here in Taiwan. But I know even more single women who aren't married and who have no children. So we're seeing a lot of that. So this has just been happening as time has gone by and society has changed a lot.
Indeed. So women are going against the mainstream standard of the world by exercising their right to not have kids. So if you go against something, you're being different. You're not necessarily doing this on purpose, but you are not conforming to trends in society. You might go against someone as well if you oppose them, but here they're going against the standard of the world. Now, in different places of the world, of course, young women have children. It's just in modern countries like Western countries and Japan and Korea and Taiwan. We just got a lot of people who just don't want to have those kids. They're too much of a hassle. They interfere with your career. So that kind of doesn't go against the standard in these countries nowadays, but it does go against the standard in other countries around the world, like in Latin America, for example.
Oh, I think they're still having quite a few kids there. Different cultures like different sizes of families, you could say. And a lot of the Latin American countries, they love kids. But here, it's harder. Most of the women work in Taiwan. That's very difficult. You kind of need two heads of the household working to have enough money to pay for your living expenses. So a lot of these things are part of the reason why we are seeing more and more panks emerge in our world. So if you take an alternative path, a different way, it says here, panks take a defiant stance against the norm. If you're defiant, you're sort of rebellious. You're going against what most people are doing. A stance is your position. It could actually mean the way you're standing up, right? Your stance. But it also is very figurative, just meaning what you support. Well, my stance on working overtime is that I don't think we should. That's my opinion, my viewpoint. And a norm, what's a norm, Tom?
It's a normal situation. It's just the word normal shortened to norm. But normal is an adjective. Here, norm is a noun. The norm just means the general standards of society. And so we say the norm for short.
And we would never say against norm. You have to say the norm, which is kind of interesting. Right now, someone who's always interesting is our Chinese teacher. Let's listen.
而身为阿姨当然就是会有好处啊，那这些女性啊就可以借由照顾侄女啊、侄子啊、niece nephew 啊，就享受家庭带来的好处，然而同时又可以赋予他们自己想要过生活的那种自主权。所以第一段的第8句很重要，因为逗点之后的 while 就有表示一种对比对照。然而呢，虽然呢可以这样照顾他们自己的侄子侄女，好开心，好像一家人一样，同时却有自己的 autonomy 这种自主权。不过在这一句话最后面要特别注意倒数第3个 S， 我们抓出来。我们知道它是连接词，可是在这里其实也是准冠带哦。我们这个月介绍了一个新的概念，叫做准冠带。准冠带就是冠带，把它当成 which 或者是 that 就对了。所以先行词就是 their lives， 他们的生活。什么生活啊？ That they desire， 他们想要过的生活。好，那这个是样的一个 trend， 这个趋势呢，它会出现就是因为女性对于建立家庭这种态度其实是有转变的。我们在第2段第1句特别注意一下，把动词的 has arisen 特别把它抓出来。arise 动词就给它等于一个等号，叫做 happen， 就是发生。好，那这样子这个趋势会发生呢，主要就是因为我们的 attitudes 对于家庭的态度就改变啦。好，这个不是乱讲的哦，这是有研究的实证的哦。因为在第2句告诉我们，在英国有一个针对1989年出生女性的调查就显示，其中 49% 的人到30岁还没有生小孩，但是在上一代呢是 38% 的人到30岁还没有生小孩，而再上一代差不多只有 20%， 所以态度上的确是有所转变的。不过这一句话呢，我们来看一下，在第2句当中它有非这个限定用法的关系子句的简化。第2句当中先行词是 women，简化的关系子句从 born 一直到1989这个地方，当然它省略简化的是 who 或者是 that 跟 be 动词的 were。那接下来的第3句就很重要啦。第3句我们要好好的花一点时间来看，因为我们只知道概念，就是说1989年当时 49% 的人的女生30岁还没有孩子，可是在前一代是 38%， 而在前一代只有 20%。 那第3句首先我们看到的动词原形，它不是祈使句哦，它其实是一个 let's 的省略。 Let's do something， 邀请读者一起来做这件事。好，让我们现在一起来比较这个，比较 to the generation before 前一代逗点之后的 of which 呢 which 指的就是 the generation before 前面3个字，就是所谓的前一代前一代就是 38% 的女性是过了30岁还没有小孩子。逗点之后的 and the generation before that 逗点之后的 which 你就会知道啦。那这里又是另外一个补充说明的，在前一代的前一代就只有 20%。 所以接下来第4句的这个统计数字 statistics 就是告诉我们，女性基本上已经渐渐扬弃说一定要有家庭这种传统的观念，所以妇女其实现在正在透过使用不生育的权利来反抗 go against 全世界的主流这种 mainstream 的一种道德标准，就是女生一定要结婚生小孩，没有，正在这个反抗这样子的一个观念。所以采取这样子一个替代的途径就是做 pink 族。对于这种社会常态这种 norm， 其实 pink 族是表现出一种不一样，比较挑衅的一种比较反对性的一个立场。那明天我们会针对 pink 族它的 origin， 它到底怎么会有这个族群这个名称呢？我们会来好好的介绍一下。我是安娜，我们明天见。
That's it for day 1, guys. We have another day to talk about pinks, the rise of pinks, and we hope you'll join us then. For English Digest, I'm Stephanie.
I'm Tom. Goodbye.
Bye.